Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Flexing your must-have muscle, maybe something like that the title will be. Today's episode is actually based on a study, and I'll get to what they found, but it was a surprising situation where people will say that they have deal breakers and must-have list, and you would think these must-have list is things that people must have, but not necessarily and not so much. And that's what we're talking about today. If that's at all intriguing, if I've piqued your interest whatsoever, it should be interesting. Stick around, that's what we're chatting about today. So we matchmakers, we talk about flexing our clients' must-have list, which means if something's not been working for them for years and they've come for our services, maybe something that they feel they must have is a would like to have situation, right? You know, we had that episode about height. A lot of people have height requirements that are really prohibiting them from meeting a much larger pool of people. I'll put the link to that up here. But say height, for instance, people will say, oh, I must have somebody this height or taller, or this height and shorter. I think putting rules around things where there need not be rules is never helpful. So as a matchmaker, we might try to eke in a direction that we'd allow a few more people in, because do you really know what size package or what the exact personality of your soulmate, perhaps, if you believe in soulmates, or your person? What is the package your person is going to be coming in? Do you know? Yeah, I don't think you do, because very often people end up with very different people than what they've asked me for. I'd say actually almost the opposite of all the things that were on their top list of priorities or must-haves. They're not present in this person. And I'm always like, see, you know, you can make all these rules, but that's not the way love works. So that's part of what flexing your must-have list looks like, making some adjustments so that other people can slip in under the gate of where you've put up a wall. For example, I'm going to make something up out of the blue. This is nobody's list off the top of my head that I can think of, because a lot of people have actually the way people look and also qualities and activities it's a nice mix, usually I would say, with the people I work with. All right, so let's make up an imaginary list of my must-haves. I want somebody who's 5 feet 10 inches tall with dark hair and light eyes. I want somebody who is very kind. I want somebody who is more outgoing than I am, so very friendly and more of an extrovert than I am. That's my list, my top 3 priorities in a person that I want to date. And let's say I go on a date and this guy is probably a little bit shorter than it said on his dating profile. He's 5'8", and his hair sort of dark, but not really. It's more of a medium light brown. Maybe it's bleached from the sun. It's almost blonde. And then let's say that we're there and he's not rude to the waiter, but he's not really being friendly to the waiter. No extra niceties. Takes him a while to warm up in our conversation. He gets there, but it's not like I feel he's outgoing or very comfortable talking to people he doesn't know. And what was my last one? I don't know. Let's just go with those. Let's say he does not have all 3 of my top 3 priorities. My must-haves have not been met. So you would assume that I'm not going on a second date with him. But guess what a new study has shown? Those things that I've told everybody, including myself, they are must-haves, they are my list. They don't mean anything of somebody who has the wrong sense of humor. Perhaps I'm like, will not ever date anybody again who has puns as their sense of humor, and he throws one out in the middle of our drink and appetizer date. There's a pun right on the table there. You will think, no way am I going out with him, but the tipping point is 4. So likely, all those things I said I must have or I would never stand for, they are not absolutes according to a new study. They do have a cumulative effect, and at 4 of them will be the tipping point where I would not end up seeing this person again. But must-haves don't must anything. They're preferences, but they are not priorities or must-haves in this situation. And I thought that was super interesting. Although I feel that maybe with a matchmaker, because there's some different expectations, that I can be manufacturing ideal people somewhere in my basement that people are scrutinizing these matches a little bit more because they're paying for them. So I understand that. But most of us out there dating, our deal breakers really don't mean they're breaking any deals. Now let's say that I had, according to this study, a list that was way longer than those like 4 things that I really wanted. I had a list of 10 ideal things my mate must have, bring to the table, be personality traits, must love his mother, he should make a certain amount of money, live a certain distance from me. 10 things I have on my list. The longer my list is, the more likely that I will end this relationship early on, knowing that this person does not meet all that criteria. Had I only had 3 and they broke all 3, I'd keep seeing this person for the next 2 months maybe, and maybe marry this person. But if I had a really long list, it's not probably gonna work for that person. Interesting, right? So if those deal breakers are not making people exit, that's great, because that's going to give everybody more time to actually learn about this person and see what they're like on a second date, which is above all other things important because it's not a first date. People are not always their best on a first date, and we've got to cut those people some slack. So even that person, my imaginary date, maybe he's super outgoing, but he's just not on first dates. Maybe our second date, he's chatting with our waiter and being super charming. My point is, the more information we can gather, the less likely we are to just throw people to the curb based on one date, the more likely we are to find somebody that we truly connect with. And I think that's the goal here in dating. So whenever in doubt, say yes to date number 2, unless there's 2 things. I usually say 3 things: red flags, deal breakers, or a feeling of ugh. But I guess in this situation, there could be red flags, there could be deal breakers, but if you feel about this person that they're kind of yucky to you, that's the reason you don't go on date number 2. If you can't ever picture yourself kissing this person, then probably don't waste your time and allow them to go on and meet somebody who's better suited for them as well. So I hope you found this interesting. I did. And if you did, let Mom instruct you as to what to do now, which is to give the episode a thumbs up. Give it to him, Mom. I hope you'll subscribe, and then you can hit the ring bell and you'll be notified every time a new episode goes live. Appreciate you stopping by today. Look forward to next time. And until then, have a good one.